putting together a 25-point, 11-rebound, 7-assist game in this one. He had 21 of those points in the first half as the Celtics get the 32-point win over the Philadelphia 76ers, take the 1-0 series lead. Tom Giles, Chris Forsberg, Eddie House with you here on Celtics POSTGAME Live. Eddie, I'll start with you. Your thoughts overall on what you saw in this one?
I thought we looked fantastic. I thought Jayson Tatum came out in the first half and kind of set the tone for the team, but offensively. And, you know, we had a couple guys in foul trouble. Queta was in foul trouble with 3. JB was in foul trouble with 3. But I thought our defense was incredible. It was only a few, I would say a handful of shots that I felt like were easy open shots for the 76ers. I felt like they had to work for pretty much every shot that they got. And conversely, on the other end, we were getting what we wanted. We shared the basketball. We were splitting the pick and roll. We were making threes. We were getting out in transition. It seemed like we had our way with these guys. It didn't seem like it. We had our way with them guys tonight. And, you know, to the Philadelphia fans who were yelling, we want Boston, you got to be careful what you wish for sometimes.
100%. And that was my favorite moment in the fourth quarter when the fans gave it right back, doing the "We Want Boston" chant with the Celtics up 30. Just as Eddie said, I thought from Jayson setting the tone on all facets in the first quarter to Jaylen Brown playing that entire third quarter and getting his chance. I love the way Joe's breaking that up. Now, both guys got the luxury of taking the end of the fourth quarter off because it turned into a summer league game, but that's what happens when Celtics go up another level in the playoffs, and the Philadelphia 76ers just can't.
Yeah, Tatum played 32 minutes, Jaylen 30 minutes, didn't even have to play in the fourth quarter at all, did Jaylen Brown, as again the Celtics cruising. But let's take a look at how Jayson Tatum took control of this game. Again, the Celtics were up by 18 at the half, and these highlights presented by TD Bank and the Boston Celtics member FDIC, TD Bank NA. Eddie, as Jayson Tatum got it going, we saw him in the mid-range, saw him attacking the hoop, scoring at all 3 levels in this game.
Yeah, he did, but he didn't shoot the ball well from behind the 3. He was 1 for 7, so you look at 25 points, but he was efficient from the field. 11 rebounds. I want to say he had close to 5 in that first quarter, I believe. 5 rebounds, so he was locked in, and Scal said it in pregame that he's the best defensive rebounding small forward in the league, and
by
it
far.
shows. And it's by far the only guys that rebound the basketball better than him on the defensive end. Defensive rebounds are big men, are centers. So he came out, he set the tone, and I think not only did he set the tone offensively, but also defensively as well. He had a couple steals. One was a real big-time steal that he got early on in the third quarter, I believe, and then they pushed it down the court. So, I mean, I thought he did a fantastic job tonight setting the tone.
If Jayson Tatum's going to shoot 80% inside the arc, just the series is a wrap. The whole thing coming into this was to just get him as close to the peak of his powers as can be. It was great to watch at the end of the season how good he looked, but especially now, playoff physicality, minutes going up, and yet Tatum was just totally in control in that first half. The rebounding has been great. The playmaking makes it so much easier for everybody else out there. And it's incredible to think that there's still maybe another level to get to as these playoffs go along, but like just needs a little bit more of that explosion, and yet he was still utterly dominant tonight against a team that had no answers when he snaked his way to the basket.
Hey, you know, you were talking about explosion. Scal was talking about explosion. Maybe right now it's not going to be that. I mean, just get the deuce. Sometimes you're going to dunk the ball and it looks explosive and things like that. Like when he snaked, when he split the pick and roll, he went up and dunked it. But then at times, man, just lay it up. It's a 2 is a 2, right. Is a 2 is a 2, right? So if you're going to get the deuce, go ahead and get the deuce. Get the money with all pun intended because his son's name is Deuce. So, but no, if you're going to get the basket, no need to try to overforce it, especially in games where it's not going to be a momentum changer. Now, if it's a momentum changer, I can see you exploding to go dunk to get the crowd involved and things like that. But when you're up so big, just go get your easy money.
One of the things we did talk about at halftime was Jaylen Brown, who had 10 points in the first half. I think he was 4 of 12 from the field. And then the third quarter, Chris, he just took over. He went 7 of 9 from the field in the third quarter, had 16 points, ended up leading the Celtics with 26 overall. But he certainly was the guy when Philadelphia was trying to make anything happen, trying to make a run. Jaylen Brown answered.
I go back to it. You know, I think you were asking at halftime, and Scal kind of scoffed and just said, it's Jaylen Brown. He's going to go figure out how to get it. But I do, again, go back to the rotation where Joe pulls Jayson off the court halfway through that quarter. All of a sudden, Jaylen's got to be the guy. And he was just allowed to be super aggressive. And you knew after a quieter first half he was going to come out and set a tone. And so what a luxury to have 2 superstars like that can just sort of pass the baton. And I go back to it, like they just don't have a lot of answers for that. You want to put VJ Edgecombe on him, he's going going to just try to power his way to the basket. Paul George had no answers. I like the way Jaylen just did whatever he wanted in that third quarter.
Yeah, he was under control, and this is what I love about Jaylen Brown. He gets to his spot, and in that third quarter, he constantly got to the mid-range game. And he took some threes and knocked down some threes. Those were wide open threes. Those weren't forced threes where he had to go through the legs and try to create space to get that three off. He was wide open and he took a wide open three. But he was getting to his spot. When he was making those mid-range shots, he was working his handle. He was working his body. Reverse pivot, fake pivot, fadeaway shots, using his shoulder to create space. So I like that version of Jaylen Brown. And again, I think he said this quote that he'll never be small again, right? And he's playing huge and big right now.
Okay, speaking of bigs, Neemias Queta also had 13 points for the Celtics, and he's standing by with Abby Chin back on the floor.
Nimi, your first playoff game as a starter for the Boston Celtics. What'd you think?
Good win, great collective effort. I felt like we played our asses off. Like it was a bunch of physicality thrown at it, and I think we handled it pretty well.
You did battle foul trouble throughout. I mean, pretty much everyone in that front court. How were you guys able to stay in it?
Yeah, I think it's a testament to our group. We got so many guys that can step in every night in and night out and contribute to winning. And tonight was one of those nights, and not a night, a day, but. That's a testament of the group, and like I said, it's an adjustment from the regular season to the playoffs, and I think we'll watch film and be better for the next one.
Yeah, what do you take from that experience in dealing with that?
Yeah, it's being able to stay even keeled. The playoffs bring a lot of emotions to the game, and being able to not let one mistake become two or three, and being able to adjust the physicality from the regular season to now. I'm trying to figure out my rhythm with that, and I'll be better next year.
Finally, Jaylen and Jayson combined for 50-plus points. How much confidence do those two instill in the rest of the group?
I mean, they're the head of the snake for us. Whenever they're going, our life is so much easier, and we just want to make their life easier by doing our job, hitting our shots, rebounding, playing defense, and from that point on, we're in a great spot to win games.
Nimi, thank you. Congrats on Game 1.
Thank you.
Laying that up.
That was, I think, the final play of the first quarter as Celtics led 33-18 after one. And Eddie, in total, they had 31 assists.
Yep.
Your thoughts on the ball movement tonight and the way they shared it?
It was hopping around. Jayson Tatum was the leader of that. He had 7. Derek White had 6. Peyton Pritchard had 6. And then everybody chipped in with some twos and fews, and one here and one there. But we talk about 31 assists on 45 field goals. That means the ball was moving around. They couldn't do anything. We weren't playing selfish basketball, or it was an agenda-free basketball. Whoever was open, you make the right play, get it to the right guy at the right time, and they will finish most of the time open shot, or they will get a layup, or they will get a dunk. So I thought today was a great example of when we get 30 or more assists. We've been saying that 25 is the magic number. We get 30 assists, we're pretty much unbeatable.
And think about it. The Celtics shot the three-pointer good, but not great. Like 16 of 44, 36.4%, certainly better than Philly did. But normally when that assist number goes to the moon is when guys are just unconscious beyond the arc. So there's just even another level they can get to. But to set that sort of tone, the ability to move the ball, get good looks whenever they wanted. And again, Nimi with the foul trouble wasn't even out there, and he's one of the easiest guys to toss it up there too. So I think they can even kick that number up. What we do need is we need some sponsor for like Eddie's post-game assist. Like if they hit 30 or more, I need like buzzers going off or something like that.
Am I going to get paid for that?
Of course.
I'm looking for $1 or $2.
Not only did they have 31 assists, but they also only turned it over 10 times.
Yes.
You see how many points the Sixers scored off turnovers?
What?
3.
3.
They had 3 points off turnovers.
And the Sixers had 15 turnovers. Guess how many points we scored off of that? Don't look down at the paper.
Sorry.
Well,
22.
22.
I mean,
already look, man.
we said coming into this series, live ball turnovers were going to be important for the Celtics to limit. And I thought they were sloppy early. Jaylen was a little loose with the handle, but that was about the only thing that went wrong. And for them to clean that up that quickly is really encouraging.
And they cleaned it up enough throughout the first half there. And again, it was 8-7, I think, a few minutes in. Celtics went on a 9-0 run. They had a 14-2 run in that first quarter. And then they're up by 18 at the half, Chris. they set the tone. I mean, this game ended up 32. Celtics winning by 32, but they set the tone in the first half.
I give a lot of credit to Sam Hauser. He was ready when the ball came his way and knocking down shots. Queta was activated before he got into the foul trouble. I mean, I know we'll focus on Jayson Tatum and how good he was, but setting everybody else up and getting all the guys to feel good about themselves. And then there was no letdown. Like the bench, again, they kind of shook up the rotation a little bit. Jordan Walsh being the early sub, having to go to Vooch early because of the foul trouble. Garza, all these guys came in and found a way to positively impact winning. It goes back to it, Eddie. Everyone is staying ready for their moment, and then obviously when your leaders are playing like this, it's easy, but I really like the way that everybody else found a way to contribute to it.
And you know what was getting overlooked in all this, because the way that they played offensively is how great we played defensively. You look at Maxey, had 21 points on 20 field goal attempts. You look at Edgecombe, he had 13 points on 16 field goal attempts. And the only guy that was really, really efficient was Paul George, and he only took 8 shots. He went to the free throw line and made his free throws. But besides that, you start looking at those two guys. Those are the guys that drive the Sixers, and they have driven the Sixers all season long, getting out in transition. We didn't let them get out in transition. We had made sure that we had gaps. They had opportunities where they scored and they were able to get down because they're really good players. But for the most part, they didn't get clear looks. They didn't get clean looks. They didn't get easy layups. We stopped them in transition, and they always seen a body, a secondary body. Whoever was guarding them, there was a secondary body and a third body as well that they seen that they had to try to get through, and they just could not figure out that puzzle tonight. And I think that, we were great offensively, but I think defensively always spawns the great offense.
And then you look at what Philadelphia did from behind the arc, 4 of 23. And Sam Hauser made as many threes as the entire Philadelphia 76ers team on this night.
Not going to beat the Celtics with that.
I don't think so. Let's send it back downstairs. Abby Chin standing by with head coach Joe Mazzulla.
Joe, game 1, largest margin of victory in a playoff opener in Celtics history. The number that caught me is that Philly only hit 4 threes. How were you guys able to contain them on the perimeter?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I thought they missed some really good shots, that they'll make, and will be a difference maker. I thought we did a relatively good job on the stuff that we can't control, and they're going to test that the entire series. Did a decent job of it tonight. We got to continue to do a good job of it.
Also held Philly's starting backcourt to a minus 55. How were you able to contain those two? Yeah,
I don't know if it was necessarily contained. I thought, like I said, as a team, I thought we did a good job taking away some of the stuff that we can't control. But those guys put a ton of pressure on you. They'll be much better. We have to be much better as well.
If game 1 is the feel-out game, and I know you go on principle, so what are the tangible takeaways? Yeah,
the stuff that we can control. What do we do well? Where do we have to get better? It's no different than the process of how we play preseason, regular season, playoffs. We have to maintain a level of intensity, physicality, which I thought we showed some moments of on both ends of the floor. And then we go back tomorrow, probably 20, 25 possessions, and we get better at those, and we move on to the next game with the expectation of both teams will be better.
Consistent, no doubt. Joe, thank you.
Thanks.
What do you think? Flow-wise?
Who wears it better? Who wears it better?
Between Forsberg and Baylor?
Keep it real.
Well, we'll get to that in just a bit, because we also have to get you to Joe Mazzulla, who's meeting with the media right now after the Celtics.
You know the answer, Giles.
Picked up their 5th 30-plus point win over the Sixers in postseason history. Joe Mazzulla, the coach's press conference, is presented by Amica Insurance, the exclusive auto, home, and life insurance partner of the Boston Celtics. Here is Joe.
Halfway through the third quarter or so, they have a little bit of momentum. Jaylen misses a shot and then immediately gets a steal. You guys hit a couple of three-pointers, force a timeout. What does that do there? You guys were a little slow at the beginning of the quarter, and then you kind of got back to what you were doing. What did that play mean for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's part of just making winning plays, regardless how the game is going. And I thought that was a huge play. I said it's a back tip. We get a shot, going a little bit of a run. So when you're not, there's going to be ebbs and flows to the game. Making winning plays, whether it's offensive rebounding. I thought we had guys sprint back and block some shots. I thought we got some great team rebounding. Those things, give you a shot, and they help manage runs. I think it's a key. Is how can you manage runs? With your execution on the offensive end, also with trying to make winning plays.
Sam and Justin. Joe, foul trouble over here. Foul trouble seemed to be a problem for the bigs today. Took Vooch a while to get going in this game, but in the third quarter he really seemed to find his rhythm, even though he wasn't necessarily scoring the ball. What did you see from him that enabled him to make an impact that way?
Yeah, I mean, two things is we're not asking him to score, we're asking him to play basketball. And I think at the end of the day, I don't really look at it as foul trouble. I look at it as we play our rotation, we play our guys. I mean, that's what we've done the entire year. It's what we'll continue to do. And I thought Vooch was great tonight and the things that we expect of him. He took some open shots, but he protected the rim, kept Drummond and Bono off the glass. It's where the other guys were responsible for getting rebounds. You don't get credit when you keep your guy from getting it and someone else comes in and gets the rebound. So at the end of the day, we got to do what we got to do to win. Using everybody that we can. He did a great job on that tonight. All the bigs did. Those guards put a ton of pressure on you. So we just got to be ready to give the game what it needs. I thought they did that tonight.
Joe, Sam had a postseason career high 7 rebounds tonight. Just what did you see from his impact in that regard of the game?
Yeah, it goes back to guys keeping other guys off so we can do it. It's team rebounding. It's not it's not your job to keep your guy from getting it and get it. I thought that's where our bigs were good tonight, was making sure they kept their guy from getting it and the responsibility of the others coming back and get the ball. So Sam did a great job of that. We had some other guys make big time plays in that. It's an important key to winning basketball regardless of when you're playing.
Joe, along those lines, you guys didn't miss a beat with Luka in there. Just how important is it for those guys, team as a whole, but specifically the bigs, to stay ready in a series like this where rebounding is going to be key?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got to. Like I said, I think the strength of our team is we've played. I remember that one game we took like 35 substitutions. We just have a bunch of different ways that we could play. So everyone's got to be ready. It's a credit to them understanding that. You take a look at Baylor and Jordan tonight as well. Like 4 minutes in the first half, but they had 2 offensive rebounds. Baylor gets a floater on the baseline. Jordan gets a transition rebound. A transition outlet for a layup. We just need guys to be ready to make plays, and they did that tonight, and we got to continue to do that.
Bobby, then B-Rob. They were one of the best teams at taking care of the ball during the regular season. Some of those turnovers today were self-inflicted, but from the defensive side of that impact on forcing some of those turnovers, what stood out to you? Yeah,
I think the key is they still are one of the best teams of taking care of the ball, and so we have to be able to, we understand that, and there's things that we're going to have to be able to do. So some of that was obviously self-inflicted, like you said, and some of it we did a good job with our positioning and our activity, and some of the things that we can control. And it kind of goes back to that, is we just got to focus on the stuff that we can control on both ends of the floor.
All right, Celtics felt like they were in pretty much complete control for much of that game. As again, they win at 123-91. Giles Forsberg, Eddie back with you here on Celtics POSTGAME Live. Eddie, you started to talk about Tyrese Maxey. In the way the Celtics kind of limited him, he did finish with 21 points, but just 4 of 20 from the field, 4 or 5 from the free throw line, which means he didn't get to the line as much as he probably would like. They threw a few different bodies at him, but what did you like most about the way they made his life difficult?
Well, they didn't allow him to get out in transition and get easy layups and see that ball go in uncontestedly. And then uncontested, I should say. And then on top of that, then once you start seeing it go in, then the threes start coming down. He's so fast. Like, see how quick he is. You have to react to everything that he does. And look at the bodies right there. Jayson Tatum in a gap makes him take a fadeaway tough shot. All of his shots were tough. There, look at Vooch is right there. There's a lot of bodies that he's seeing, so it's not clear cut. Like when they was playing against Orlando, he was going straight to the basket, straight line drives. Everything he has to do, even though that's a straight line drive, that's against a guy that's 6'10". That's a tough shot, going one way and using your other hand to try to score. So, 20 attempts on 21 and only getting 21 points. He had a very rough night. Don't think that he's going to stop shooting, because he's going to go look at this film and he's going to try to figure ways out. Nick Nurse is going to do the same thing, figure ways out how to get him the ball on the move. They had one good play, and it was on right in front of the Celtics bench where he came off of a curl screen from the top.
And he had a straight line drive.
Yeah, and a straight line drive, and he was able to get to the basket. So those are the type of things I think that we're going to see next game.
Yeah, and it goes back to the game being connected. If you take care of the basketball, you're not giving him the opportunity to get those easy leak outs, to use his speed, to just start getting the confidence. Then when he's coming down, he's just attacking relentlessly. And so the defense just has to be disciplined. I love the way they got Tatum switched onto him a bunch of times early. Maybe felt like maybe even testing Tatum a little bit to see how he was feeling, like in terms of trying to stay in front of a super fast player like that. And Tatum held up well. I go back to it, like, one of the things that seems to bother Maxey's is when you've got some length on him. So whether it's Jordan Walsh and his length coming in, whether it's Shireman, whether it's Tatum, like you can just at least make him think twice about trying to get at the basket if you can keep bodies in front of him. But watch, every time he's, even at the top of the key, there's bodies shuffling over, whether it's the big on the back line or Derek White like shading over to help. They're not going to let him get easy looks in this series, and they're going to force everyone else to beat you. And when your rest of your roster is shooting 4 of 23 on threes, you have zero chance against the Celtics.
I'm going to add to that as well. So I was thinking about it as you were talking. They might have VJ Edgecombe bring the ball up and get the ball out of Maxey's hands, because when Maxey has the ball in his hands, the defense is loaded up. Every highlight that we've seen, it was bodies everywhere. There were no gaps, and I was talking about that in the pregame. That's the way you have to do. You can't give him straight line drives. You can't let him see any kind of space, because he can get to that space when he wants to. But if there's a body and then another body over there, he's seeing that, and he's trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I beat this guy and make sure I could get to my spot without this guy coming to help? That's a lot of thought process. Not only a lot of thought process, that's a lot of things that you have to try to do, especially when the team is taking that away from you. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Edgecombe bring the ball up a few times so he could catch the ball with a live dribble on the move.
We don't need to give Nick Nurse any help.
I'm not. I'm just saying that, I mean, you know, they're pros and they make adjustments. And I think what I'm saying is,
for sure,
we would make those same adjustments, understanding that, okay, this is what we might see. So knowing that you might see that, you prepare yourself for it.
Nurse has got to wait and practice all those faces where he's like, how come we didn't get a call?
Tyrese Maxey, his last 3 games, by the way, against the Celtics, 5 of 17, 12 of 34, and then tonight. Not available as far as information goes on that one. But again, the Celtics' dominance as far as game ones. I think I heard 25. Did I hear 25, Mark? That was the largest in the other direction?
Well, that's not 40.
Okay. No, it's not. So, again, 1-0 series lead here for the Celtics after getting this win. Let's talk about the points off turnovers. Again, we brought up the assists, brought up the points off turnovers, but here's what it looked like as the Celtics took that category 22-3. They had a clear advantage in the points off turnovers, Eddie, in this game, the defense leading to the offense.
You know what's funny about that is I have been taught this since I first started playing basketball. Teams that like to run and get out in transition don't like to get ran on. They're usually imbalanced on defense, and that's what was happening. We were getting deflections, and once we were getting deflections, look at the hustle back by Oubre right there, just not really hustling back, getting into the play, and that's usually what teams do that are on the other side. They like to get after you. They like to push the ball, but when you don't turn the basketball over like we didn't turn it over, we had our defensive balance. They were unbalanced on the defensive side, and we were able to get what we wanted. I don't know how many deflections we had, but we got a lot of hands on the basketball. We got a lot of steals. Jayson Tatum had 2 of those 2 steals as well. That was a huge steal by Jaylen Brown right there, like you said. Even though we won by 30, it could have easily had went the other way if Maxey gets that ball and lays it up.
So Celtics had 4 turnovers in the first quarter. I think Jaylen had a couple in the first minutes, and everyone just kind of tightened it up. And I think, again, if I had to guess, and it's probably not even a guess, Joe stressed this week, cannot have turnovers, cannot get them activated. We saw time and time again how much Maxey can hurt you in transition if you give them a clear lane. And because there have been times where if they get a little loose with the basketball, it can come back to bite them. But they identified it early, made sure it did not become a lingering issue, and to make it even better, they attacked whenever they got a chance, because the Sixers just were not able to get back consistently enough.
No, they weren't. 123-91, your final score. We're actually joined right now. Luka Garza joining the program here on Celtics POSTGAME Live with Giles, Forsberg, and Eddie. And Luka, I guess I'll start with, there's been some loud games in this building for the regular season so far this year, but what was the energy like from the tip that you felt from this building?
Yeah, it's just different this time of year. So it was really cool to experience it for the first time. It was just awesome.
What's your mindset coming into the games? So, like, you don't know if you're going to get minutes or not, or you're going to get minutes or how many minutes you're going to get, and then Queta gets in foul trouble and Vooch gets in foul trouble and you have to get out there and play. Like, what is your mindset coming into games like this to where maybe you might get extended minutes and then maybe you might have short minutes? Like, what's your mentality?
Yeah, it's just to stay ready. I think that's throughout this whole year. That's just been kind of my mindset. No matter what each game looks like, there's a chance I can play. Just knowing from experience with Joe, he'll go to anyone on that bench, so you always got to be ready for your name to get called. So for me, my preparation's the same. Last game knowing I was starting versus this game, I come in with the same mindset. My routine's the same, and that allows me to just be consistent in my mindset and effort.
Luka, take us behind the curtain a little bit. How does that work? Does Joe come to you this week and say, hey, this is going to be the way I'm going to utilize you, or this is a situation where we might need you, or is it on the player just to be ready regardless of the situation?
No, I mean, Joe definitely told me this week to stay ready, just knowing that the opportunity will come. He's not sure when or how or what it's going to look like, but obviously he has a lot of confidence in me from this season and different opportunities where I've been ready in these moments. So just knowing that, hearing that, just kind of imprinted that in my mind, and I kind of always just walk into every single game, season, no matter what it is that I can play. I expect to play, no matter if I don't or I do. It just helps having that mindset.
What goes into making you the offensive rebounder that you are? You grabbed a couple more tonight, and it seems like time and time again you're in the middle of three different guys, and somehow you outwork them, outwill them, and you come up with that ball. What do you put into that to make you that kind of offensive rebounder?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a process of going every single time. I think there's a lot of guys that could be better offensive rebounders, but they just don't go every time there's an opportunity. And I just go regardless, no matter where the ball's going, and because you never know, it can get tipped. It can hit the rim in a different way. So just my mindset is just to go every single time, and that's something that is harped on here, especially with Coach DJ, who I work with. He says I can never get stuck. Stuck in between getting back and going. It's just go. So
I look at small things, Luka, when guys play, and it looks like you're in phenomenal conditioning. What do you do to stay in the shape that you're in? Because you go baseline to baseline for the most part. It's not you're going three-point line to three-point line. You're going baseline to baseline, and you could tell that you busting your ass trying to get back to that other side to be on the defensive side, and then sometimes you have to run back, and then you have to get up and be there for the pick and roll and maybe a switch, whatever it is. What goes into your conditioning? Because I pay attention to that and I respect it.
I appreciate that. No, I think, ever since I was a kid, I knew that, if I was going to be on the floor to be successful, I had to play as hard as I could. And when you play at that kind of effort level, you got to be in great shape. So that's, something that I try to maintain, obviously, in the off season, getting ready for the season, and then especially in the season. If, there are moments when I'm not playing as much, my workouts get a little bit harder, and I just try to stay in as good a shape as I can. Make sure, I utilize the time when it's a timeout or a free throw to kind of catch my breath, and but for me it's just, you feel like for me when I come on the court, it's like jumping onto a treadmill is going 100 miles an hour. I'm just trying to go as hard as I can.
Luka, I know we already probably got used to it a little bit at the end of the regular season, but what's it like to watch Jayson Tatum perform at the level he did, especially at the start of this game, and set the tone the way he did?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, having him back, and just, it just boosts all of our confidence knowing that, you have a guy like that can, get to his spots, but also just the way he's defending and rebounding. I think that's just, something that separates us better. So I'm looking forward to continue to see his greatness throughout this playoffs.
All right, Luka Garza, appreciate you taking the time to come on with us. Congrats on the win here this afternoon, and good luck on Tuesday in Game 2.
Welcome, everyone, to Celtics POSTGAME Plus, and this one felt calm, cool, collected all the way. I mean, to the end, guys, you start to see the fans getting into it, and then when fans start to leave, and in kind of in a respectful way with 3 minutes to left, it's almost like they're brushing their shoulders off, saying, all right, we took care of business in Game 1, and that's kind of the vibe I got from
It's a busy sports day in Boston, right?
You got the marathon tomorrow. You got the Bruins
things to do.
later on.
When you take care of business, you allow the people to decide what they want to do from there. Eddie, Kayla was up in the media section screaming, "We want Boston," with the fans.
Okay, all right.
It was an amazing moment.
I did kind of
we kind of get into it, right? I thought that was the best moment of the game. Your chance to take a little bit of a victory lap. A reminder to everybody out there as you get further into the playoffs. careful what you wish for with these Boston Celtics.
I feel like those chants come a little early, don't you think? When you heard Philly start to say, "We want Boston," it's like, what is everyone doing?
They're delusional. That's what it was. They were delusional. They thought they wanted Boston. You know what I mean? That's like me thinking that I want to fight Mike Tyson. Yeah, I think I do. But I'm going to get knocked out. I know that. But you know what? The one thing is that when you looked at, I never was worried in this game. I never felt like Philly threatened us in any certain way. Not defensively, we got whatever we want. We had 31 assists off of 45 field goals. Offensively, like I said, we got what we wanted. Defensively, they had to fight, claw, scratch, whatever you want to say, do everything they had, bite. They were trying to do whatever they can to get an open look, which was extremely tough. And then they had a few open looks. And see, what happens is when you have to work so hard to get an open shot, then finally you get that open shot, you don't have that rhythm. You don't have that same rhythm. So I'm glad we didn't give them too many open looks early, and we contested shots. I expect them to come, Philly to come with a different game plan, but I also expect us to come ready for that game plan that they have, because I think it's only one way that they could win this series, or get back in this series, I should say, and win game 2, is they got to have Tyrese Maxey straight line driving, getting as many layups as he can and trying to get to the free throw line.
Yeah, finishing with 21 points here tonight. But overall, Philadelphia shooting four threes, 4 of 23 from downtown, and then 35 of 90, just 38% from overall. So maybe you expect them to shoot a little bit better, but all we know is the Celtics, they did what they had to do. 5 guys in double figures here tonight for the Celtics.
I don't think that team is built like that. I don't think that they got just, when you look at their roster, they don't have knockdown shooters. We could look at our guys right now. We know who our knockdown shooters is. We got Sam Hauser, knockdown shooter. We got Peyton Pritchard, knockdown shooter. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, knockdown shooter. So when you start looking at that, I don't see that on their roster.
That's not the threat. Jaylen Brown, though, a threat here tonight. He balled. Here, JB is post-game.
Jaylen, in the middle of the third quarter, you had that steal after a miss. They were trying to go on a run out. You had that steal, and you come back. You hit a 3. Vooch hits a 3. It was a 15-point game, and they had a little bit of momentum kind of shifted there. What did you see in that play? Did you feel it in that moment that you had to do something to kind of get a stop?
Yeah, I mean, the game is just about managing your emotions. Like, they're going to go on runs, we're going to go on runs, but can't let that, kind of stampede and turn into, momentum. So we just got to cut out the momentum plays. Right there, they were trying to get out and get a transition basket, and we was able to stop it. But that's just going to be how the series is going to be, back and forth. We got to just manage momentum.
Jaylen, it seemed like just today was handled with such professionalism. I mean, you guys had a week plus off. It seemed like the preparation was there. You guys punched first. Is that just a kind of a culture that you guys have built to just take things seriously, not play with your food, just kind of be focused out there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was Celtic basketball. We've been a harder playing team all year. That can't change now that the playoffs have started. But then it's just focusing in, honing in on the details, and just winning the fight. Being a harder playing team and just guarding. Our offense can win us this series. I mean, our offense is important, but we got to make sure we guard. And I think tonight we did a great job.
Nemi makes his first career playoff start. On one hand, he gets the 5 fouls, but on the other, a lot of impact, especially in the pick and roll, getting behind Drummond in the defense. What did you see from him overall tonight?
Yeah, just growth. Just being big at the rim, protecting us, just managing, getting in foul trouble because we need him on the floor. But, his first job is to protect the rim, and then we trust him when he makes those plays in the seam.
Jaylen, we've heard and talked a lot about your leadership this season. For a lot of guys, this was effectively their playoff debut. What was your message this week to them? I saw, you're always leading the huddle before the game. What are you kind of sharing to guys like Nemi, Baylor, Luka, who maybe haven't been exactly here before? Just breathe.
You know what I mean? Manage your emotions. They might go on a run. They might not go on a run, but just stay together. Win the fight. Be the hard playing team and guard. Don't save yourself for offense. Our offense is going to be fine if we guard. That was my message.
Kind of not game related, but did you guys even hear the "We Want Boston" chant by the fans, which was kind of, I guess, mocking Sixers fans, and were you amused by that?
What's the question?
Did you hear the chant, and what was your reaction to it? Did you find it? Were you amused by it, or?
Yeah, we heard it. But for us, we're just coming out and just playing basketball. It's a good team over there. We don't take nothing for granted. So we just got it's one game, but we got to continue to play well and play physical on the other end. So I think we just focused on that.
Thank you.
Jaylen, all week we've kind of heard about how, the difference or similarities between the regular season and the playoffs have to focus on the same thing. Sam was just talking about how standard's the standard. That's another thing we've heard all year. You guys come out, play the same basketball you've played all season. It's easy for us to listen to you guys say, we're just going to play the same, we're just going to do the same thing, but I think understanding the process might get lost in translation a little bit. What does that look like for you guys leading up to a series like this, trying to keep your head the same when it's a different level of intensity?
I mean, same standard. I think our standard is being the harder player in team, but as the playoffs, teams play harder. We got to play even harder or definitely match that. So the mentality, the focus, the attention span, the efficiency needs to improve. We got to get to our spots, and we got to be able to see and read the game as it comes. And I think that is what we've been building up towards all season long, in our film sessions and our practices, and even when we get out on the game. So it's not something that we're not familiar with. We're just intensifying and taking it to another level.
Jayson, obviously it's your first playoff game since being back. You've had the whole regular season to ramp up, but as you guys have prepared for this moment behind the scene, and you personally prepared for this, has there anything changed from the past years of playoff preparation for you?
I mean, yeah. Just from the standpoint of obviously, I'm still rehabbing, right? I'm still returning. I mean, I've returned to play, obviously, but, I still attack rehab, every single day except for when we have off days. So, obviously, that's the main difference. And still just trying to ramp up. I got to play 16 games. So, for me, it's just all about conditioning and obviously it's still taking rehab every single day to, feel better and feel stronger and more confident. Things I just didn't have to focus on in the past.
Jayson, you said that yourself that you were still rehabbing. Only 16 regular season games played this season. How were you able to start out in playoff intensity so well?
I mean, that's a loaded question. But, it's really been a long journey, obviously. A lot of things had to go right to even have the opportunity to come back and play. So obviously I'm thank God every day that I'm able to do and return to do what I love. And, from surgery the next day and with Nick and everything in between these last 48 weeks, it's just kind of been a build up to today.
Two crowd questions, if I may. Number one, the huge ovation they gave you when you came out of the game. And number two, there was that "We Want Boston" chant that Celtics fans were letting loose with during the game. Do you hear any of that? And what were your thoughts on that? Must have been kind of amusing.
Yeah, I heard it. We have a tremendous crowd. And, obviously missing 60 some odd games, I miss playing in front of our home crowd. And just the opportunity again to play here in the playoffs is special and, something I'll never take for granted.
And the "We Want Boston" thing, same thing, or?
I guess it was a response to Philly fans.
You guys really jumped on them. Right.
Jayson Tatum gets the Tommy Award.
Yeah, well deserved too. And the best part about the takeaway, you just mentioned it, but I'm still rehabbing. He had that whole stat line and still rehabbing in his first playoff game back since his injury.
25, 11, and 7 in rehabbing.
Not a bad stat
But ain't a
line.
better team to rehab against than the 76ers.
Sound like I need to go rehab.
I think the Sixers do because they have game 2 coming up. What is it going to take for Eddie, the Celtics, to keep putting their foot into the ground here against this team.
It's what Jaylen Brown said. They got to play defense. Don't really worry about the offense. The offense is going to come off of the good defense that you play. You're going to cause turnovers. You're going to make them take tough shots, and closing out the possession with the rebound, leaving them to one and dones and things like that. I think that's the way you're going to beat this team.
Yeah, for me, people keep asking, like, what can Philly do? And I say it's not so much what Philly can do, it's what the Celtics are. Like, if you shoot yourself in the foot with turnovers, if you're not rebounding the basketball, things get difficult. But if the Celtics play the level of defense that we saw tonight, if their two superstars are performing anywhere near the level we saw tonight, I don't have a roadmap for that team. They're just, I'm sorry, they're just not offensively talented enough to hang with the Celtics on a night-to-night basis. So Celtics play some defense, rebound the basketball, get into the next round.
31 assists on 45 made field goals. I know your head always turns when you hear this. I like the ball movement. I want to see that continue, obviously, throughout not only this series, but I'm jumping the gun already to the next. But you move the ball around and get the Jays to kind of rest early, save them for the later part of this down-the-road series, I think they'll be just fine.
I want more "We Want Boston" chants.
I know Philly shouldn't do that. We want Boston.
Well, that was their bad. They got what they wanted.
Yeah. Game 1, the Celtics take this one here tonight. Again, 123-91, the final. It was fun. I'm excited for Game 2 because the Celtics, they are back in